Hi, my name is Paul Shore, and you are watching The Street Speaks, a spontaneous speaker's corner for Montrealers. Why am I doing this? Well, last year I went around the city and I interviewed about 100 Montrealers in English and in French about a whole range of issues. But when I asked them, when was the last time a journalist or a politician asked you for your opinion about anything? Almost all of them said never. So this is my attempt at an unfiltered platform for Montrealers to express themselves about anything in particular. Nothing is off limits. Join me this week as Montrealers are speaking out about how their smartphones are changing their lives, especially their interpersonal relationships. They're raving about what they love about Montreal and what they find frustrating living here. And despite Montrealers' openness towards each other, they're talking about how racism continues to persist and rear its head in some of our communities. I've also invited local dad and comic David Pride up onto the Street Speaks soapbox. And ahead, the smooth sounds of the Street Speaks band, Skinny Bros.
What I love about Montreal and why I stay here, I guess it boils down to it's a city that doesn't need to try to be as cool as it is. It's not at all self-conscious.
Like just that Montreal, just like the unique sort of
Try to find
like sort of like almost badass mixed with like I don't give a shit, but like not that like everyone's like an asshole. Everyone's cool and stuff.
I don't know. It has a sort of intimacy that I feel like Toronto lacks often. I love Toronto too. Definitely has a big city feel, but Montreal, all the little quarters and the neighborhoods, and I live right here on this street. And like, how can you say no to this, right?
But just sort of like people are a little more free to, I feel like, explore themselves with the city, and I feel like other cities don't let you do that as much. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't lived in other cities.
I love Montreal because it's an easy, compared to other cities that I've mentioned, it feels like you're in the country a little bit. It's a more easy pace.
People who come here always tell me like, oh yeah, I'd much prefer it here because of like, for similar reasons, just being able to like live the life that more suits their needs, I guess.
I love that it's there are so many groups of people, the multi-ethnicity of it. I think it's fantastic, although most cities are like that now, so yeah.
It's just got built into its DNA and culture a sense of confidence and fun and ease that you don't find in any other North American city.
It's the vibe. It's more the vibe in the city. I've traveled to other cities and they all have the, I don't know how to describe it really. It's more of a mentality, I guess, that like you just can't find anywhere else.
There's constantly things happening in the city, whereas in Nova Scotia, it's like really, really small and the scene's really small. But yeah, there's like, the city's beautiful and there's tons of stuff going on, so it's nice to be here.
Yeah, so what I love is stuff like this. You know, in the summer, I don't think any city is better than Montreal in the summer. You have all these festivals, like it's great.
But it's also the confluence of English and French. It makes for something extremely special and unique. Both tolerant in its own way and progressive in its own way, and then the opposite, intolerant and backwards.
The winters suck actually, so I'm not sure why I like it. I don't like it for half the year, but the summers are amazing. Summertime is like my jam. Everyone comes out, parties, you know, enjoy the sun.
What do you hate?
What do I hate? Just the language issues, the infrastructure. Just people are disorganized here. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Like, if people love to have fun, chances are they're not good at running things, right?
I'm happy to welcome back to the show the Street Speaks band, NDG's finest, Skinny Bros. what are you seeing happening, especially as a person who doesn't even own a smartphone?
Well, just from an observation of if I get on a public transport and so on, it's just unbelievable that I can count, and I do count almost the totality of people that are on their smartphones.
One thing I am a little self-conscious of is the fact that I check my email way too often while I'm with people.
Was it a conscious effort decision not to purchase a smartphone?
Yes. It's expensive, and I don't want to be hooked up to the internet because I know I'd be on Facebook all day long.
And that's okay, but we also got to look up from that and kind of just begin to relate and respond and take sustenance from what is exactly around us.
So that's something I'm trying to be more conscious of and be more mindful of, is actually paying attention to the people in front of me.
It's kind of like the day I got a watch. I replaced that with a smartphone, but once you get one, there's no going back.
I don't want a smartphone. I think it's too stressful. Huh?
But all the attention you'll get, all the beeps and the doot, doot, doot.
Yeah, and it's like you're never in the present moment anymore.
People just like being in contact with people all the time.
Is it that, or is it just the attention?
It's a big part of it. The attention is a big part of it. It's nice to know someone's thinking about you and talking to you.
It's like you're always somewhere else. You're always with someone who's not there, and it's hard to stay focused on the present.
I miss the days when, cost you $0.25 to make a phone call, and you had to find a payphone, and your parents couldn't reach you 24 hours a day anywhere in the world. I do miss that.
Not super into Facebook and Instagram. I use it. I hate texting. I tell my girlfriend I hate texting.
Why?
I find it really removes you from the situation that you're in presently. You don't just talk to people as much anymore, and it's kind of weird. I'm not a huge fan. I wish I didn't have to deal with that kind of stuff, but I do. So.
Well, my girlfriend is younger than me, so she uses a lot more technology than me. So sometimes I think it's frustrating because she's always on the computer, and I'm like, why?
Quality is all the way down here, it's being friends with 70 people at one time, and it's not building like solid relationships because, hey, I can talk to you at any time and I don't need to build something with you because I have you on Facebook.
What about you? You got a girlfriend?
No, I do not.
So, but you enjoy the presence of girls. You told me that before.
Well, I'd much rather, talk to girls in real life than talk to them on the net. I mean, both is good, man. I mean, I don't know. Interaction is interaction. I mean, on the net, they send you pictures, man. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's better to meet a girl in real life. You don't want no tuts, sending you kitty pictures and shit like that. I mean.
Are you political?
Not really. Around the times of the elections, I'll do my research. I'm more interested in, if anything, in the States, just because it's all messed up. Well, it's here too, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you a political person?
Yeah, but I try not to share my political views because it's another one of those things that's really not black and white. It depends where you are, what the situation is.
It's all the same. Nothing's really, I just lost interest. I don't know, it was all the same stuff over and over. It was like, oh, sometimes this guy wins, sometimes this guy wins. It's all the same really at the end of the day.
While I can only guess, I can only look at myself and say, okay, if I'm constantly being bombarded from so many different places of, in fact, what is wrong and how disempowering that makes us feel, I think that's one reason.
I don't find there's a lot of variety in politics.
Why don't you run?
I'm out of shape, like I said. So.
This may be really far-fetched, but the reason why, in my opinion, the reason why we're not teaching kids the basics of spirituality, the basics of philosophy, and why to question why is because there's people that benefit off of people not knowing. I guess I wish that the city could do a better job in terms of its infrastructure, how its bureaucracy. I feel that's frustrating, how it's not run efficiently, the things we complain about. I wish that didn't need to be such a swamp.
I think what we're doing right now makes very little sense and is gonna be felt for many, many years to come. These plans come out from like 10 years ago that don't have the impact that they're looking to have, that are forcing people out of the communities that already exist in hopes that like if we build it, it'll come and we'll invite new private interests.
First of all, there seems to be this kind of erosion of what in fact, like water, clean water, public transport, good public transport, accessibility. All these sorts of things should be out there in the public domain as far as control. We don't want any kind of further privatization of stuff like that.
But you're looking at the demographics of your current population and then assuming they're still going to be around after you change everything. And just destroying the communities that you already have established.
I think we're not disengaged. In fact, I think it's just the contrary. But I think that in fact it is so painful of what we see and feel, of how difficult it is for us to be able to respond. So when I hear people say to me, oh, we'll never be able to do anything about that, what I hear underneath that is, please tell me that in fact there is ways and things that we can do about that. And if we simply accept people on their first response, then of course we really don't understand that in fact there's another whole level that people, as I said, are yearning to be able to be affirmed and be able to start to respond differently to.
I'm very proud to welcome to the Street Speak Soapbox local dad and comic David Pride.
I've noticed a lot of people with kids are unfairly dismissive of people who don't have kids. They express pity or contempt, often writing them off as somehow lonely or unfulfilled. And as a father, I'm no exception. You're all kind of pathetic to me, but hear me out. One area where I will defend the non-breeder is in the area of selfishness. We've all heard the conversation, oh, Tom and Sally say they don't want to have kids. Well, they always were a little selfish. No, you don't get to say that, and here's why. Because having kids is the most selfish thing people do. Consider, having kids is the only act where if you do it for anything other than a selfish reason, people think you have a problem. Imagine this conversation. Oh, hey, I just heard the news. Congratulations. You must be so thrilled. Have you always wanted to have kids? No, actually, I still don't. No, my wife wants kids, and I decided to set aside my personal preference and undertake this huge burden just to make her happy. Oh, that's kind of sad. Also, my mother said she really wanted to be a grandma before she died, and she's sacrificed so much for me over the years, I figured I owed it to her to sacrifice my serenity, independence, and lifestyle to raise a child, even though it goes against all my better instincts, my personality, and my innermost desires. I figured I'd do it for her. Oh, you're a terrible person. Also, the average median age in my village is 57 years old, and all projections indicate that within a couple of decades, the housing and healthcare costs for the elderly are going to become unsustainable unless we raise the birth rate. So I figured it's my civic duty to produce and raise a child, even though I have really no interest in doing so, for the greater good of the community.
You're a monster! What kind of role model are you?
And scene. Now, compare that with this much more likely conversation. Oh, hey, I just heard the news. Congratulations, you must be thrilled. Have you always wanted to have kids?
That's right. Don't know how I'm gonna raise one, don't know how I can afford one, but we want one, so we're gonna go for it.
Yay! You go, boyfriend. So take heart, non-parents. You're not the selfish ones. Go out and lead the lives you want to lead. And remember to work hard, because your taxes are paying for my cheap daycare. For The Street Speaks, I'm proud father, just for the hell of it, David Pride.
I have a son, he's 7, my daughter's 4, they're my everything. And that's pretty much how it changed my life, because I went from being a young woman to a mother. I'm a mother first before anything, and that's definitely how it changed my life.
It changed me with the belief that I could actually be a responsible father and husband and still pursue my activism without kind of the economic security that some of the other sorts of professions and jobs provided.
A lot of single mothers are doing it by themselves. They don't have anybody, so big up to those moms. But I definitely have my mother, who's like my backbone for sure. Yeah.
It's a natural evolution for me. I'm 36. Me and my wife, we've done a lot of traveling. We've done a lot of the things, the success, the career, and then we realized that we were not fulfilled. And then finally we've done the children.
It wasn't enough having a husband. We needed more like relatives. So yes, I have children now, and now we have better, like closer friends. Yeah, it's more beautiful. Yeah.
And the first one, you know, we had to get some acupuncture help and get it going. But the second one was very smooth. And that's it. That's all I can tell you. You know, I'm very busy at home with being a dad of a second boy. His name is Michael. I'm looking forward to that as a full-time job.
Yeah, for sure. I got my mom though, who helps me out. I think that's like another big thing, like here in Montreal too, is like a lot of kids stay home. Well, kids, I'm grown, but I mean like a lot of people stay home for a really, really long time. And I think kind of like I said, society kind of makes it so that it ends up like that, you know what I mean?
How do you maintain positive?
Because I have a girlfriend, she's pregnant, so no matter what, I have to keep thinking positive. Like, even if I get put down, as I say, as one door closed and a window open or a next door open.
My wife is exhausted, you know, breastfeeding 4 times a night, and you know, it's not always easy. She has a little bit of emotional roller coaster that I have to put up with.
Are you nervous about being a dad?
Not really. I'm happy, but like yet still, I'm kind of like in between nervous and happy at the same time.
Do you love your girlfriend?
Yeah, I love my girlfriend.
So at least you love her. That's a good start.
Yeah, that's a good start.
You know, I deal with that, and then I become an emotional roller coaster, and then she has to put up with that. And yeah, it's I guess it's love. You know, it's love.
Think Canada's a better place for visible minorities than, let's say, the United
Canada
States?
is better than the United States. My God, I go to almost every place over there, and I cannot believe it becomes so sick.
Growing up in South Carolina, like there was certain things that you knew, like certain boundaries you could not cross. Like you're not gonna be invited to, like a white child's home if you're a black child to come and play in the suburbs with them. It wasn't gonna happen.
There is so much violence. There is so much killing. There is so much hate, and the police, every minute they shoot the black people.
That same feeling of hold your corner, you know, respect the boundaries, and you guys stay separate, and that's that. I knew nothing about real culture until I came here to Canada.
In the US, have a lot of racism thing going on in the US, but like, kind of Montreal. I wouldn't speak for the whole of Canada, but for Montreal don't have that much to say. But Montreal is a good place for like.
I had an ex-boyfriend who got shot once, and he told me that like after he got shot, they never asked him like who did it. There was never really any follow-up. He kind of also lived outside the law too, you know what I mean? And I think that they knew about him.
And the survival, people don't want to see each other survive, and they're bitter, you know, bitter against each other. So it makes the world mixed up.
He also took the stance as he wasn't trying to snitch either, because that's the law on the street, you know, snitches get stitches. So he wasn't trying to tell anybody, but from his point of view, it's like they didn't really give a fuck either, you know what I mean?
In the US, it's just different because some of the black people are just like, you know, the things they say maybe trigger off the cops. Sometimes the cops have a bad day and they just want to pick on other black people, so like, you know.
I don't hate anyone.
Well, you don't, but I wouldn't say I hate you, but the world full of hate. Black hate black, white hate white, black hate white, white hate black.
I feel like hatred is everywhere. So is racism and a lack of understanding. And I feel like people are driven by the wrong intentions and like being brainwashed throughout history. And I feel like, what's the sense of judging someone based off the color of their skin instead of their character?
I mean, I think it's good to say that, you know, like we're all one and, you know what I mean, peace be on to like my brother and all that, you know what I mean, jazz. But I think that everybody's racist in their own way. You understand what I'm saying? I think everybody has preconceived notions about other races or other people. I just think it's the way you go about it that makes it appropriate or inappropriate.
It's over. Racism is so tacky. It's honestly, it's disgusting. It's old news and people need to get with the program. Everybody is everybody.
It's okay to be different. It's okay to notice other people's differences. We're not all one, we're all different, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, teach your children, like, you know, yeah, their skin color is different than ours. They do things differently. If anything, like, educate yourselves. A lot of people are scared of other people because they don't really understand them. It's not something to kind of like ignore that it's there, but kind of more educate yourself about it. You know what I mean?
And that's what it is at the end of the day. And I'm living proof of it. Everybody is everybody.
The island itself is a weird anomaly. There's major population centers and economic centers on the island of Montreal that aren't part of the structure of Montreal itself. We demerged 10 years ago.
We're all ghettoized, basically.
And we did it to ourselves. No one came in and did this to us. It's not like imperialism. It's not like conquerors coming in and taking us up. Like, we've this up.
But all of that, I think, is us losing that glue that has held this country together for a long time of we value our differences.
We didn't do this properly for so long because other people's interests came before Montrealers. And as somebody who's now worked in for 2 or 3 years here in politics, one thing I've tried to attach to people is think of yourself as a Montrealer.
Do you have any faith in the government, the politicians?
Yes, I think some are good. Some have really good philosophy. Some others, but you can pass on.
You live here, even though there's other issues that might affect you in different ways. Being a Montrealer here is a unique thing, and you share a lot more in common with other Montrealers than you do with Quebecois or Canadians. So you can still consider yourself Canadian Quebecois, but I want to add another virgule at the end of that sentence to say Montrealer.
I think we really need to consider the possibility that a new kind of idea of citizenship is a national priority, because without doing that, we keep on drifting apart.
Realizing that that's really what Montreal is dealing with, that it's a power struggle between different communities and different organizations and different private citizens that hold control over certain areas of Montreal, that those are the power brokers, and that's the discussions that happen when there isn't an election that's formal within the democracy.
Our communities are all screwed up. They've destroyed our sense of community. I mean, what kind of a place is it when they build a hospital, that monstrous bloody piece of thing in NDG, that that covers all kinds of ground. It's inaccessible, it's ugly as sin. And what we need is not big hospitals like this. We need small hospitals in various communities.
Education, health. We should build our society on that. I mean, education, they cut all, it's money that we have, and the health, same thing. If you want to have a good society, they need to be educated, and they need to be in shape, and they need to be healthy.
And for the multi-million-dollar machines that are required, they can put those in one big place. But for the rest, people have to have local health care. Try going and do it. I mean, it takes hours, could take days to get a bloody appointment. Which reminds me, I have to call my doctor tomorrow.
Great way to end it.
Yeah.
That wraps up another edition of The Street Speaks. Thank you, Montrealers, for sharing, and thank you for watching. A special thank you to local comic and dad, David Pride, who graced our soapbox this week. Also, a special thanks to the Street Speaks band, Skinny Bros. Our hashtag is StreetSpeaks514, and if you want to get in touch with me, don't be shy. I'll be filming again very, very soon, and I can be reached at the StreetSpeaks514@gmail.com. Join me next week as Montrealers are speaking out about First Nation stereotyping. They're raving about what new technologies are affording them, and how Montreal is truly one of the world's last bohemias. Also, local comic Jess Solomon returns to the Street Speaks soapbox with tales of iPhone rehab and Facebook stories gone bad. See you next time.
Can I do that again? Of course. My name is Cody, and you are watching The Street Speaks.